Okay, we're bringing the ABL Minors Championship match between the Moonlit Dragapults, coached by Risa, and the Riolu Rangers, coached by Vashi. Right here we see on the screen both teams up and on display. We have the Riolu Rangers with the Gigantamax Machamp, the Mewtwo, Chandelure, Mudsdale, Pangoro, and Grimmsnarl, while the Moonlit Dragapults brought in Kyurem White, the Gigantamax or maybe Dynamax Copperajah, the Incineroar, Whimsicott, Jellicent, and the Ditto. A very, very good matchup indeed for these two players who have made it all the way up to finals, taking down veteran coaches like the Vancouver Corviknights, and other competitors that were in there, like Boston Grambles were also in there as a replacement coach, and these teams, brand new in ABL Minors, made it all the way to the championship match. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see how these two will lead. I think there's some good matchups here, probably leading off with probably the Grimmsnarl, as we see him go ahead with that Light Clay, potentially going for the screen set and try to maybe defend and set up with any other one of their Mons. Mewtwo has a pretty lackluster matchup here because of the Incineroar, and then I don't know what moveset it might be rocking, but maybe Copperajah could pose a threat to it as well. Machamp actually has a very good setup opportunity with the Pangoro and the Chandelure as support for that Jellicent maybe down the line. It does seem like the Riolu Rangers have a better matchup against the opponent's team. So these players are now set and ready to go. Let's go ahead and check out the championship match of the ABL Minors. Again, Moonlit Dragapults versus the Riolu Rangers. Let's see how this rocks down. Taiga and Cotton Candy. So right away we see the Incineroar Whimsicott lead. Very common lead in regular VGC, so this doubles format is not surprising at all. And then we see the Mudsdale with the Grimmsnarl. Two Prankster Mons right off the bat. Sadly, Whimsicott cannot Prankster the Grimmsnarl due to the Prankster abilities, of course, and the Dark typing to it. So now we're going to see some moves here. We're going to see a heavy slam probably going on right for the offensive. So that's very interesting to see the least. Let's see how the Moonlit Dragapults decide to play this turn out, as we see a very offensive side from the Riolu Rangers trying to take out the Whimsicott, which can pose a threat down the line for any type of setup that might need to be done. So right now we're going to see a fake out coming in from Incineroar into the Grimmsnarl slot, preventing that Mon from doing absolutely anything. Energy Ball coming out from Whimsicott straight for the offense on both sides. Very interesting from Prankster Mons to be doing that. Here comes the heavy slam from the Mudsdale going into the Whimsicott, and that is definitely going to make it activate its Focus Sash, which is definitely something you don't want to see happen right off the bat, especially with a Mon so viable as Whimsicott, where it can just use Prankster for so many different things. Tailwind, you could use Fake Tears, if you have any sort of status conditions, weather altering, like it just depends what you set up on that Whimsicott, and it's a real shame to see it just drop down right off the bat and doing very minimal damage, to say the least, overall in the whole team. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see if we see any switches, any changes, any reserves coming in from the Moonlit Dragapults. But that first turn one did have a heavy exchange for both Mudsdale and the Whimsicott. And here comes a Tailwind as a last-ditch effort to activate that Prankster benefit. And now we're going to go ahead and see the taunt come in from Grimmsnarl, but he's not fast enough to get that Whimsicott to not do its damage. Knockoff does hit the Mudsdale, knocking off its Assault Vest. Here comes a Rock Slide from the Mudsdale, securing both slots, getting a KO on Whimsicott, and dealing some damage on the Incineroar, but that Intimidate from early on, we saw the Inner Focus, I believe, activate, so it's very, very interesting to say the least. Moonlit Dragapults making their pick. See who replaces the Whimsicott. They have some good reserves in the back. They could opt to go into Ditto, copy the Prankster Mon that's right in front of them. They have the option to just go straight Reshiram, the Kyurem White. However, the problem with that is that you do have a Fairy Mon right across from you on the field. So it's going to be very interesting. Maybe Copperajah comes in right now, early in, and she tries to focus out on the Mudsdale. But no, we see Pringles, the Jellicent, coming in, Jellicent's a really good mon, has potential to set up a Trick Room if the team is running a slower set, which we did see the Copperajah, so that is also a probability, you know. Strength Sap to keep that thing in. There's a taunt coming in from the Grimmsnarl onto the Jellicent. We're going to go ahead and see in a little bit if that was actually even going to go for the Trick Room at all. Here comes a Flare Blitz from the Incineroar, dealing some nice damage onto the Grimmsnarl, and it does get a burn. And that recoil damage does hit that Incineroar. Here comes an Energy Ball from the Pringles, the Jellicent, knocking out the Mudsdale. So now we're both 1 for 1 here. So a very nice exchange. Nice revenge kill there from the Jellicent. You know, it is a shame that the Grimmsnarl is burned, but it has been doing a lot of damage in terms to support-wise and what it's actually doing in the back. You know, knocking stuff down. You know, setting up. It's really been somewhat of a hassle. And I think it does need to be checked, in my opinion. I think the next mon that they should focus on, unless if like something very dangerous comes in from Riolu's Rangers. But here comes the Machamp. So Machamp is going to be coming in now. Very interesting choice for sure. Machamp doesn't really, I don't know what moves he might be rocking, but Machamp doesn't really do much onto the Jellicent. There comes a light screen, as we see set up the light screen right there. He does have dark moves set up just for the situation. So Riolu's can opt to go for that close combat on the Incineroar and secure that KO, or go ahead and what it seems like might be the case and just Dynamax, considering whether or not they want to Dynamax and take out the Jellicent. So we're gonna see some decision making going on right here. On the retrospect, we don't know what exactly Moonlit Dragapults want to do here. Is it too late to set up a Trick Room? Is Trick Room your option? Is it your go-to? We don't know. Definitely some hesitation from part of the Riolu's Rangers. And here we go. Here comes the light screen. And again, Grimmsnarl does have the light clay as we saw before, so it will be an extended light screen. Here comes a Flare Blitz from the Incineroar, trying to secure that KO on the Grimmsnarl, and it does. So Grimmsnarl is now out. Moonlit Dragapults have the lead in a 2 knockout to 1 knockout lead, so this is a 1 differential lead for now. Here comes the Energy Ball. We did see that the Machamp had the Assault Vest. Here comes a knockoff and activates the Colbur Berry from the Jellicent, so it won't do that much damage. Very, very, very good prep from both sides here. We're going to go ahead and probably, I would dare say, probably like a Mewtwo or a Pangoro switch, and here it comes. No, definitely not that. Okay, it's going to be interesting to see what exactly comes in, but it's definitely going to be nice regardless of what comes in, just because you can shift focus. If you bring in a Ghost type, you can shift focus and try to take out the Jellicent with your Ghost, and if you bring in like a Pangoro is a Dark type and can do the same thing. So it just depends exactly what you want to save here, and they do opt to save the other mon and come in with Pangoro, so it's going to be very interesting to see what moves get chosen here. You can also always Dynamax, Gigantamax from the Machamp side. So, again, now we have 2 fighting types on the field. This is definitely a scary situation for the Moonlit Dragapults, just because Incineroar is so low, it could definitely be knocked out. And then the Jellicent took some damage, so depending on how the spreads are on either side, Jellicent might go down too. So, Moonlit might have to play a defensive turn here. We're going to have to wait and see exactly what she opts to do here, Risa and the Moonlit Dragapult, since it's definitely going to be this turn is going to be very important here. So we're going to have to see who exactly makes the first move, who exactly makes the first play, and we're going to go ahead and see as these players just locked in their moves. And here we go. Dynamax time, maybe Gigantamax. It indeed is a Gigantamax. No, Dynamax. So it is your Dynamax Machamp coming in. So we got no Chi Strike. It is just going to be a full-on regular Dynamax Machamp, which is great. Here comes the Brick Break from the Incineroar going into the Pangoro, who has a Chople Berry ready to go. This breaks the light screen, so no need to worry about that at all anymore. So very nice prep from Risa's side. Here comes an Energy Ball coming into the Pangoro, not doing that much damage. Here comes a close combat onto the Incineroar, who probably has another Colbur Berry as well. Oh my, a Chople Berry, I'm sorry. And there he goes. There's another knockout, so now we're tied again. Very nice exchange going back and forth here. Now that Pangoro is a little bit dropped on the defensive side, so there might be a switch out coming in, because there's a few mons in the back that Risa has access to, like, and then, oh, not another knockout. So Risa does have other mons in the back, like the Kyurem White, also the Copperajah and the Ditto, which can come in at any time. So no more Tailwind from the opponent either. So Risa's in a little bit of a bind here as she loses her Tailwind support. She loses her Intimidate Mon. It's definitely going to be interesting because most of these Mons on Vashi's side are physical, or the ones that are out right now. So it would have been probably a better idea to save the Incineroar and just cycle it through into Intimidates. But no, we didn't see that. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Does maybe Kyurem White come in? Maybe Ditto? We don't know. It's going to be a very interesting play for sure. Risa making sure she's picking the right play here. Make sure the right Mon comes out, as Vashi is probably just already calculating what the next 2, 3, 4 moves are going to be, as it seems he's in a really, really comfortable position right now, dominating the field with this Dynamax. And here comes the Copperajah, so we might see 2 Dynamax Mons on the field at the same time. Vashi has to make a decision right now, double down on that Copperajah potentially, since the Jellicin's already so low, or does Jellicin have access to Trick Room and hasn't shown it yet? And if you don't take down that Jellicin, you might be in a bind later for slower Mons. So we're going to have to go ahead and find out here, as we see that it's going to aim for a knockoff on that Copperajah. No. Doubling down, switching side. Nope, just making sure that they're going for the. Oh, definitely nerve-wracking right here. So we are aiming for a Parting Shot this time instead. So Parting Shot will be going into the Copperajah. Make sure it's lowering its stats, which it does seem like an interesting play. Not interesting, definitely like a smart play to kind of like secure anything. And yep, here comes the Dynamax here, as we can see on the Moonlit Dragapult side of the field. And Risa not here to play any more games, trying to come back, and we're going to see the Gigantamax Copperajah come out. So Gigantamax Copperajah having the ability to set up the steel spikes, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that, see if it does activate, does not activate. Parting Shot does get through into the Copperajah, so now it won't be doing as much damage as usually. We're going to go ahead and see what Vashi decides to switch into here, as it doesn't seem like it's going to take any time at all. The Chandelure comes in, potentially trying to burn the Copperajah, maybe just trying to make sure it secures a KO on the Jellicent. No, as the Jellicent's going to get knocked out right now with the Machamp. Machamp makes sure there's no ghost types there to annoy the Chandelure. So now special defense drops on Copperajah, and this is a very, very tight bind for the Moonlit Dragapults. Here comes the Starfall, which is going to go right into it's going to go into the Chandelure slot. Nice switch from Vashi, because now that is not a very effective move. The Parting Shot plays an effect here. Very, very nice plays from both players, actually, believe it or not. So again, now we're going to have to see what the Moonlit Dragapults decide to switch back into. They're in a really tight bind here. Kyurem does come out, so we're going to see Kyurem potentially try to cause some havoc here as it activates its Blazing Aura Turbo Blaze. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. All right, so they're going to go ahead and try to switch out into the Urshifu, which has not lost any defense anymore because of the switch. So we're going to go ahead and see how this plays out, and Risa having clicked in her moves quickly. Here comes a Shadow Ball from Kyurem. Nice switch from Vashi's side. Not doing as much damage as you would want on that Shifu. Here comes a Max Knuckle onto the Kyurem. Secures the knockout onto the Kyurem. Now we get an attack boost on the Machamp, and this game is almost secured, ladies and gentlemen. Almost secure. Again, that Copperajah is crippled down a little bit. Here comes a Starfall from the Copperajah. It does go into the Machamp. Oh, not enough. Not nearly enough. And again, we do know that the Pangoro is faster than the Copperajah, so it can opt to go for another Parting Shot to lower that thing's attack even further, and again, causing a lot of damage later down the line. And of course, the Ditto is going to imposter into the Pangoro, which is going to be weak to the Machamp as well. So Machamp is just in a really good position right now as an overall Mon here. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Moonlit Dragapults decide to go for here. Again, Parting Shot, like we said before, going to be going into the Copperajah, and then no, we're switching. I think Vashi's trying to decide whether or not he wants to focus on Copperajah or focus on the copied ditto. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually gets locked in. So we see a doubling down from part of Vashi. So we're going to see what exactly goes on here. So knockoff going onto the opposing Pangoro. And now we're going to see a close combat from Pangoro onto the... There's a simple 1-2 knockout there on the side of the Riolu's Rangers. And now the Moonlit Dragapults, I believe, are down to their final Mon. Ooh, another Shoppleberry held up all the way till the end, so that Copperajah will live to see another day. Now we see another Max Starfall coming in from Copperajah. Going to be going on to the Machamp. Will this be enough to secure the KO? And it is. Machamp is finally told to calm down as it secures that KO. Again, now we're down to the final 3 Mons on Vashi's side of the field. We know that the Pangoro is actually faster than Copperajah, so I'm considering maybe close combat being enough to finish off from here, from this range. But just in case, here comes Mewtwo. And again, this is going to be an extreme threat here for the Moonlit Dragapults as they lose their Gigantamax. And again, it seems like it's just Copperajah up on the field right here. And again, close combat, we know it's faster. Close combat should be enough to secure that KO. And I think it's secured. Here we go. Aura Sphere from Mewtwo for the finishing blow. And that is game. The Riolu's Rangers are now the ABL Minors Season 1 champion. Let's go. Congratulations to Vashi and the Riolu's Rangers as we get the mascot to get the finishing KO. Isn't that the mascot of Season 4? Isn't that great?